Assalamualaikum, kia ora koutou katoa, selamat malam semuanya. Yeah, I'm going to do this live, chatting about communication. It's just over the last maybe just week or two, it's become really apparent to me about some changes, or I don't know if they're changes. They're things I've been observing and noticing about the way we are communicating online, and how there's some things that are becoming really like patterns of behavior, I think, with our online communication that are some of them are like alarming, some of them are disturbing, but I don't really want to like come at it from a particular angle other than just, it's more about observation of patterns of behavior, which are influenced by um, technology, with communication technology, the lives we're living. We're so aware of so many things. We're bombarded with information. We filter some of it. We gravitate to some others, and it is what it is. It's the modern world we're living in. It comes with a lot of great benefits, some amazing benefits, some amazing developments that allow us to connect, communicate, share views, debate, discuss, investigate, and just know about what's going on in the world, like as it happens. But equally, I've seen that there's some downsides to it. And this talk that I want to do is about the way we're communicating. It's come to a head like this year. Let's be honest. This year has been a pretty significant year. The COVID-19 crisis worldwide, this recent thing that sparked off in America with the death of George Floyd, and the protests and Black Lives Matter, All Lives Matter, all that coming thick and hard on the heels of that. And yeah, it's just been a crazy year. And it's only June. It's not even halfway through. It is halfway through the year. So this first half of 2020 has been pretty full on. And I've seen in the way that people communicate that, yeah, we're feeling the effects of it, perhaps. Like, it is a different type of an environment this year, and there's a lot of emotive events going on around us constantly. It seems to just go from one to the next to the next to the next. They're piling up, they're backlogging, and we're responding how we do. And I just want to talk about communication in particular and how we're going about it. And I'm certainly not claiming to have any moral high ground or suggest that anyone should do what I'm not coming on Facebook Live to tell people how they should communicate. I mean, I have my views about what is a healthy way to communicate, and I'm sure we all do. Some of us might think about it more than others, but I'm certainly not here to preach, just to share my views. And if anybody wants to jump on and discuss it with me, pose a question, debate with me, disagree with me, that would be fine. But otherwise, I'm just going to share what I think about it. Yeah, so this is a communication chat about communication chatting. Yeah. I don't have a script of what I'm going to say. I don't have a plan, but I did in the last couple of hours make a few bullet point notes about some things that I just thought were like, bullet conversation starters about communication, online communication in particular, but this stuff does actually spill into, face-to-face conversation and just communication in general. But yeah, anybody who's online these days is doing a lot of online communication. So that's the topic. And good stuff the good stuff, I think I'll start with the good stuff. Like, I think the good stuff is just obvious. We get to communicate with a lot more people now than we ever have on a regular daily live basis. As things happen, we can communicate about them. As we respond to events in our lives, in our community, personal lives, communities, nations, international, we get to respond to these things publicly, immediately. Whether we should or not, that whatever, but we have the ability, we have the networks, we have the technology to do that, and it's amazing. I mean, it's certainly, I think, a lot more good than not. Um, so I'm all for it. I mean, I'm using it right now. We all are. But this COVID-19 crisis, I believe, has put people into, an understandable state of anxiety and stress. The George Floyd thing and racism coming to a head, not only in America with Black American people, but just racism in general has come to a head. And that mixed with the anxiety and stress of what's been a full-on year has had an effect, I believe, on the way we're communicating. So here's some points that I made, and I'll talk about them one at a time. If you jump on, if you're listening, let me know. Maybe drop a comment or whatever. Disagree with me all you like, but if you do drop a comment, tell me there. That would be cool. If not, I'm just recording this anyway. I can upload it to my YouTube channel later. Cool. So, without further ado, these bullet points I've made are not in any order of importance. They're just things I thought of. And there happens to be a nice round number, which is 10. So here we go. I'll just jump in. Number one, what I've written. Lack of thought and etiquette. It's becoming a big chat room with little or no forethought. Yeah, so what I mean by that is I believe, this is an opinion, that there is actually some etiquette involved in our communication, face to face and online. Um, Again, I just believe that for myself because obviously I can't control what other people do or say. But I would like to think that we can, as adults, rational adults, have some form of etiquette, like how we behave online, what we say, having some forethought. Like it doesn't mean you have to like strategically, with an agenda or anything like that, map out exactly how you communicate, because being spontaneous and in the moment is fine too. But if we have at least some sense of etiquette about how we behave online with our words, I think that's really important. In fact, I think it's increasingly important because of the amount of communication that we're engaging in. We're engaging in a lot of communication, and if we let etiquette just fly out the window and don't even think about how we're behaving, and are we being respectful, are we sticking to the point, are we just being nice people, even if we're disagreeing even passionately with somebody, are we being nice about it, like just normal etiquette? I think that's really important. um, of course, if you're chatting with people you know very well, you know them personally, they know you, you can, there's varying levels of attention we should pay to it, I suppose. But yeah, it's a thing, etiquette, and I'm seeing it slipping out. Like people are just ranting on each other. Like it's one thing to rant at a topic, but it's another thing to like just rant on anybody around you who happens to think differently to you. So yeah, etiquette, is it a thing? Is it something you're conscious of and hold yourself to some level of standard over it? You know, I try to. Hey, have I slipped up and said something regrettable or just rude or been sarcastic? Yeah, I have. I'm not perfect. I'm just saying that etiquette does exist. At least I believe so. And thinking about what you say before you say it, if only for a moment, and think to yourself, it's kind of cliche, I know, but thinking to yourself, is what I'm about to say improving upon the silence? It's like a real Buddhist kind of a Zen type approach. Before you speak, ask yourself, am I really improving upon the silence? Um, yeah, there's an element of that. Um, Acknowledging also that there's a difference between person to person, one to one communication in the form of, and I'm talking about online primarily, in the form of, private messaging people, but also in comment threads, when you create a little offshoot of a post, with somebody, and it might have several people in it, actually a small group, that type of communication can be different to group posting or or especially in community chat groups or um, yeah, community pages or chat groups that you've formed, there is a difference, and just consciousness and awareness that our communication differs when it's one to one, especially again, and that will differ between how well you know the person, and if you're going to be rude or sarcastic, is it being done with humor or is it being done to be rude and sarcastic? And sometimes, I mean, of course, there's breakdowns in communication with that too, because not to forget, we're only communicating if it's texting, like chatting, and typing. There's no body language, there's no tone, there's just the words we use. And I'm sure I've certainly had lots of instances where the communication goes haywire. There's lots of pieces missing or it's misinterpreted. So again, it boils back to awareness and forethought. And sometimes we muck up, sometimes we are misunderstood, sometimes we misunderstand others. It happens. I'm not suggesting we can perfectly plan every interaction to be, you know, perfect, but just forethought. Um, this is another point. There's a lot of quick fire communication with no thought. Like people are just reacting. Um, they see something they do or don't like. You pretty much, if you do like it, then it's going to be positive because you're there to say, yeah, big ups, cool, I support you, I agree, whatever. So that's awesome. But unfortunately, lots of people are going to say things you don't like, um, and have views we don't agree with. But I find people are just like, we're just chomping at the bit to react, react, react. Not really think first or ponder at first, but we're just reacting. And then, of course, it can spiral out into some sort of like online argument, which I resist at all chances to get drawn into. I'm happy to be drawn into a debate. I'm happy to share my views with someone who disagrees with me and listen and learn from them because sort of like Jordan Peterson says, I think it's Jordan Peterson. One of the things he says is that enter every conversation, no matter who the person is, no matter what your perception of them may be, that you can learn something from that person, even if they totally disagree with most things you think and say. So yeah, it's just a case of where was I? I lost my train of thought. I was talking about yeah, quick fire communication. So just thinking before we speak and thinking before we type, because I'm pretty sure all of us are jumping into things. Maybe we don't mean to. We probably don't mean to, but we get drawn into like shit fights. Excuse my language. Like shit fights with people that just unnecessary and they spiral out. Um, ah, and another thing I want to say is that when we post things on our pages, wherever they may be, Facebook, Twitter, whatever it may be, um, yes, we're making it public in the sense that we're putting it out there for people to read and see and respond to. But I still like to think, and maybe I'm a bit romantic and a bit naive even, but that if somebody posts something on their page, they have absolutely every right to, within reason, within the law, and I'm not including hate speech and like things that are blatantly breaking the Facebook rules and or laws. That's different. Don't you know? I don't condone that. But if somebody has a view on something that you don't agree with, but they're putting it on their page, sharing their view on their page, they have every right to. So when people come along and attack them for their views on their page, I'm just like, again, that comes back around to etiquette. Like, they didn't jump on your page and share their view on your page. Like, if they did that and you disagreed with it, then I guess they've entered your house. So it's your rules. But when people do it on their own page, even though you're a friend and therefore you can see what they post, it's still on their page. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I just have this opinion that they can do that and should feel safe to do that, without being attacked. Um, Joe Neil, if you're still there, man, it's yeah, awesome. Dominic too, Dom, Joe, nice to see you, fellas. Well, you can see me, I can see your names and your comments. So I don't know what that's about, Dom. What's the longest word you know? Oh, mine is smile. Oh man, come on, Dad. Dad joke guy. Anyway, um, yeah. What are you saying here, Neil? Biggest problem with social media communication that it's 2D. There's no ability to observe body language and feel those gut feels. That's absolutely right. And hence the reason why I would say we need to have forethought about what we say, you know, because it is just the words you use. And of course, the more articulate you are, the better you may be able to get your point across accurately. But I don't think you have to be some sort of like whiz with words. You just have to give it some thought and, be, if someone misunderstands, then politely, help them out to if they misunderstood you and you get that impression, then just in a friendly way, because like I say, we're reacting so fast, we're reacting negatively quickly, and then it just ends up on this mean as tangent. Like, I don't know, I've found myself in a couple of these places, not shockingly so, but I've observed others too. When I read other people's comments, it's like, whoa, whoa, where's this going? Oh, and people are saying unfriend me then, and yeah, I mean, it just honestly, it just turns into like a schoolyard scrap. It's just silly. So anyway, my point was about people sharing their views on their pages should be fine. They shouldn't feel like they shouldn't be getting attacked, especially by their friends. I mean, I realize friends, it's an online friendship, which some people are our real life face to face friends, and some people are just online friends. But we're still friends, and to some level. So be kind.